It's Matchday 17, Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by the SGPN app. The SGPN app is completely free to download and home to all of your favourite SGPN podcasts, contests and picks. Just type SGPN in your app store today to download America's #1 DGen app. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from sunny, the sunshine, never seen it for 6 weeks, Newcastle upon Tyne. Today is, I couldn't tell you. Hang on, whoa, I've got my phone here. Thursday, the 14th of December is the answer. And we are here to have a little squiz about the Champions League that's happened over the last couple of nights, but mainly fire out our picks for Premier League Matchday 17, which runs Friday night. We've got a Friday night game through to Sunday afternoon. Joining me, can't tell if it's sunny or not, is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Barry, what's happening behind those blinds?
Not really sunny. We were flooded here, Malcolm. The big ones off school. School got flooded.
Oh, the school got flooded, not your house?
No, not my house. Although most of the town, Bingham, was under about a foot of water on Tuesday night. Just torrential rain for about 2 hours. Drains couldn't cope, and the whole place just turned to shit. But yeah,
it's right shit show, innit? If anything happens that's not if there's no weather, we're fine. If there's any kind of, if it's hot, cold, wet, the whole thing's fucked.
Yeah, absolute shite. So yeah, the sports hall and various classrooms are closed or out of order due to flooding at the school. So Chloe's breaks up. Last day of school's Friday. She went in Monday. Went in Tuesday. She's had Wednesday, Thursday off due to rain. And she's back in tomorrow for one day, and then she's off on Christmas holidays anyway. So it's been a bit of a shambles. But other than that,
fire some picks up, Baz. Thursday afternoon we're going this week, a little bit out of sequence. I was at the match last night. We'll get to that in a little bit, and I'm working Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. So the afternoon is when we could do it. But we got a couple of the regulars in the chat. Serial, not seen Serial for a little while. Keep hearing Serial every week, giving Sean plenty on the NFL review show. Where after the Cowboys beat the Eagles. So yeah, I enjoyed that Serial. That was funny. Riley, Captain Sano's here as well. I thought me and Captain Sano were going to face off in the Fantasy League playoffs this week, but he squeezed himself into third place and I stayed in fifth. So it's a 3rd v6, 4th-v5th situation. So hopefully I'll see Serial in the final now. That's the place to see. Yeah, sorry, Captain Sano. That's the place to see him.
Yeah, Serial's not been in the YouTube much, but he has been showing up in my TikTok lives regularly, Malcolm. So
okay.
I know he's still listening. He's still involved. I think he's said he's been quite busy, so hasn't caught up with us very much. But good to see him in the YouTube today.
Absolutely, we've got a good weekend of Premier League fixtures coming up. I am surprisingly confident, Barry, which is normally a terrible, terrible sign. That's the worst thing I can be. And I've got some. I've got some picks, Baz. I've got some big ones. Dogs are bargain this weekend. If I get 2 out of 10, I'm still going to end up in profit. That's my my hit rate might be low, but my units are going to be gigantic.
I can name one of your picks already. Then.
Okay, right. We'll play that game when we get to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I know the Discord chat was talking about us being two partners on this week, and I've said before. Listen, if you are going to get too much Newcastle chat, I apologise. And we're never going to say anything nice about anybody else either. However, I do think people will want to know how we dealt with the Newcastle game last night and going out of the Champions League. Obviously, 2-1 home defeat to Milan sent us completely out of Europe, finishing in 4th place. I had no problem with it, Baz, no problem with the outcome at all. The players tried their bollocks off, and I think if we'd carried a bit of luck in a couple of games, hit the bar twice late on against Dortmund, that horrible penalty in Paris, hit the bar at 1-1 last night. So I think with average luck, it would have been different. But we've been quite magnanimous from the start, Babs. So we said if there's a journey to be had, we'd go on it. Equally, if we got knocked out, we'd take the positives and enjoy it. I enjoyed the experience. Hopefully, there's better days ahead. It won't be our last time. I enjoyed taking the kids. Betty came to the Dortmund game. Bob went to the Milan game last night, so that was his first Champions League game. I sat at the PSG game when we were up 4-1 with me dad. That's going to be my dad's last season. I mean, you can't whack that sort of thing. So, yeah, it is what it is. The singer wasn't there, Barry. The Champions League anthem singer. He wasn't there. I was devastated, and I looked around for him because nowhere to be seen. So that was disappointing. So yeah, that was that. As far as the picks went on the show, I went all right. Bet 4 units, won 6.5. Bayern, we said the other night, were licensed to print money, and so it was proven. And I turned up a nice draw in the Inter Milan Real Sociedad game. I think you did all right, Baz, but we also had a little look over your Champions League group futures, which we did at the start of the group stage, and I think you came out all right there.
Yeah, so the picks for me midweek, two picks, 2 winners from 4. The 2 winners were plus money, so it was okay. I had the unders in the Inter game. I had the unders in the Inter game, and I had Porto handicap last night against Shakhtar.
Yeah.
Dortmund let me down. I took Bayern. I took Bayern to score 2 or more.
Yeah.
Instead of just taking Bayern to win, which ironically was a better price as well. So it was a bit of a mistake on my part, that. But anyway, all right on the picks there. But yeah, my futures, I went back, sort of cashed one of them that I'd backed anyway, and then went back and looked at the others that I'd put out. I put out 4 picks for the group stage. So we put these out 3 months ago. Dortmund 11-2 to win that Group F was a great price. They were the underdogs of that group, Malcolm, plus 550.
Yeah.
They were the underdogs of the 4. And I said at the time, any team could win that group. Any team could finish last. All outcomes were on the table. And I said, all of them teams are capable of taking points off each other. And that proved to be the case. Dortmund have took points off PSG. Newcastle have took points off PSG. Took points off AC Milan in Milan. It was a wide open group, went right to the death. All outcomes were on the table yesterday. But yeah, cashed that one at 5, plus 550, 11-2 Dortmund to win the group was a great one. Another one, I had Man City to win all 6 of their games, 18 points in their group. That was 3-1. And I also put out PSV to qualify from Arsenal's group at 7-4, plus 175. The only one that didn't come in for me was Napoli, which was a bit of a speculative one. It was Napoli to win the group. So you were needing Real Madrid to drop some stuff somewhere. Real Madrid won all 6 of their games, so that never got close. But yeah, 3 from 4 with some really, really good prices was really good for my futures pick. So looking forward to the draw coming out for the next round and then getting some more futures picks put in for the Champions League. But back to the Newcastle game, I gave my perspective on it, Malcolm, very much like you. And I think the vast majority of Newcastle fans who are sensible have approached.
That's the key word there, because there's a lot of knobheads kicking around.
There is loads of knobheads, but most people, anyone I know who's fairly sensible about it, is quite pragmatic in terms of, so be it. Do you know what I mean? We could have got to 1-1 last night and tried to hold what we've got and get a 3rd place and get Europa League. But we went for it, didn't we? We tried to go for it, tried to nick it. We knew Paris Saint-Germain weren't winning. You've got to go for 2nd, and it didn't come off. As you say, what a save from the Milan keeper from that Bruno effort. If that goes 2-0, it's a different story. But it wasn't to be. No complaints, as you say. We could sit and piss and moan about the PSG game, but it's done. Move on, and hopefully some free midweeks in the new year will see us go from strength to strength and make another push for the Champions League spots again. Or if not, top 6 and another European run next season would be acceptable. So yeah, I was fine with it. Like you, it's been fun. We've got to play some good teams, and I think we've put up a good fight in all of the games. It's not for the want of trying. The PSG games will live long in the memory, and as you say, I don't think we disgraced ourselves at all, despite finishing bottom of that group.
Cheeviel's claiming Captain America, Captain 10 America for Christian Pulisic. He's claiming the winning goal for United States, the idiot. Yeah, quite funny, Captain, I'll give you that. Pat's joined us as well. Hey, Pat, how are you? Before we crack on with the picks, Baz, I've got another piece of news and notes from the high-stakes world of recreational netball. As we know, the IT department is very quickly, Barry, turning into the Jose Mourinho of the Tyne and Wear Recreational Netball League. So they've got a game last night, right? They've got a new player, Barry. The IT department, and she's angling to get a game, the new player. The IT department says she's not very good. Now, it's a combination of being new to netball and also not very good. But all the other girls said they should give her a game. Well, the IT department's not having it. She's the gaffer. She says she's not very good. So she told her not to come last night to the game. About 2 hours before the game, Barry, there's a little Facebook group for all the netball teams. And if you haven't got enough players, you can ask if anyone else wants to come along. So the opposition last night said they only had 6. Could someone else come? So then the IT department messages the new girl who's not good enough, told her to come, and then put her on the other team so they could win. I mean, that's an absolutely that's the sort of thing they'd make a Netflix documentary on, isn't it? You know, you get like the basketball point shaving or Johnny Football and all that. Like, you're going to get the IT Jose Mourinho department bringing along her not very good netball friend to stick on the opposition team, and sure enough, come away with a 23-7 win, Baz. That's cynical.
I mean, I've got to be honest, Malcolm. I was hoping there was a twist in the tail and that this not very good player ended up scoring the winning points against.
That would have been better. At the end of the Netflix doc, we'll do that instead, because that is a bit better than what actually happened, which was she just probably shattered her confidence, never to play ever again, but came away with the 2 points for a league win.
I mean, you sometimes get those Netflix documentaries which are based around some real life events, but do have some fictional parts to it. So yeah, we could definitely change the ending to make it more dramatic for Hollywood, like
a bit of artistic license. So there you go. Right, okay, we're going to fire up some Champions League picks. We have got a little guest coming on as well.
We're going to go Premier League, Malcolm. That's where we're at.
What did I say? Champions League.
You did,
to provide some balance as well for the anti-Newcastle diatribe, we're going to get a Fulham supporter on from the network in a little while, just to give us the. That'll be on the podcast, not on the live stream. But anyway, first off, Underdog Fantasy. Great way to play alongside your favourite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball and college football. Simply go higher or lower on your favourite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Underdog pick 'em for today. It's got to be your man Easton Stick, over half a touchdown for the Chargers tonight. He's just a running back, isn't he? The Raiders are rubbish. It's a rubbish game, but your man Stick's going to do a bit of everything. So that is my overplay on that. Watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash. Underdogfantasy.com. If you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog, double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. So the first time in a couple of weeks, we have a Friday night game starting here with 8 p.m, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Nottingham Forest take on Tottenham Hotspur. Forest are 7-2 plus 350. The draw is 130 plus 333. And Tottenham are 7-10 minus 142. Nottingham Forest stopped the rot last week with the point at Wolves, the 1-1 draw at Wolves. They played all right. Really hard to analyse Forest at the moment. The trends are absolutely all over the place. Tottenham took advantage of Newcastle's problems last week, ended up with a comfortable 4-1 win. But that was their first win in 5. So as much as both of these teams, Baz, I find quite unreliable in terms of picking a side to win, there was an angle in that I found. Before that Newcastle game last week, Spurs had conceded 2-3-2, 2-4 in their 5 previous games. Forest can be quite funky at home. So I think the Forest team total's too big, Barry. I see I've got plenty big price selections here. The first one I've got is a 2-1 shot. So Nottingham Forest to score over 1.5 goals against Tottenham is a 2-1, Barry.
Yeah, so I think we've had a good record on the Friday night games. When we've had Fridays, we tend to get off to a good start. Looking back, so hopefully we can crack on again here. As you say, 1-1 draw with Wolves was all right. The first points in 5 games for Forest. But now just 1 win in 12, 6 defeats, 5 draws in the last 12 games, and just the 1 win. And there isn't really any comfort for them at home this season. Just 2 wins at home all season against Sheffield United and Villa. Lots of draws earlier in the season, but they've also lost the last 2 at the City Ground. Brighton and Everton have both gone there and won. And Spurs have stopped the 5-game winless streak that they were on with a dominant display over Newcastle. They won comfortably against us. I'm leaning more towards the Spurs goals because even during that streak for Spurs where they weren't winning games, they were still scoring goals. Nobody's shut Spurs out all season. And that tells me they can get goals against this Forest side who've conceded 28 and 16, and almost half of those 28 have come in the last 5 games. They're starting to ship goals at the moment, which for me would be a concern. They conceded 5 against Fulham. They've conceded 3 against Brighton, Liverpool, West Ham. So teams can get goals against this Forest side. I think Spurs can do that as well. I think Spurs will win the game at 7-10, but that price is just about as short as we would go for a pick on this show. We don't like to get too far beyond even. So I'm not going to put Spurs up as a pick, but I don't mind them in my acca. I think Spurs will win this one. I've gone for something a bit different. I've went for first half goals, Malcolm. Over 1.5 first half goals. Both of these teams have seen 9 first half goals in their last 5 games. Spurs have had 3 of the last 5 go over 1.5 in the first half. And Forest have had 4 of the last 5 games go over 1.5 in the first half. So both of them are doing it more than half of their games recently. And you're getting 11-8. Good plus money price. So yeah, the pick for me is first half goals over 1.5 here. So that works out. As I say, I fancy Spurs goals, you fancy Forest. So it works out either way. I do like Spurs to win, but the pick for me is Forest v Spurs over 1.5 first half goals at 11-8.
Okay, like that, Baz. Thank you. There's a few people lurking in the chat who haven't said hello. So if you are lurking, say hello. No lunchtime game on Saturday. We go straight into the 3 o'clocks, 10 a.m. Eastern time. First up is Bournemouth against Luton Town. Bournemouth are 1-2 minus 200. Draw 7-2 plus 350. Luton Town are out at 5-1. Barry.
Yeah, so I'm a bit torn on this one, if I'm honest. Because it's hard to look away from Bournemouth when they've gone unbeaten in 5, scored 12 in those 5 games. But I have liked what Luton have been doing in difficult games recently. They've had a really tough run of games, but made a good fight of it against good teams. So initially, when I look at it, I'm looking at Luton at 5-1 and thinking it's enticing. It's tempting. I mean, Bournemouth at 1-2. I never thought I'd see the day. You know, if you told me that before this little run, before Bournemouth eventually clicked and Iraola seems to be finally working his magic. Bournemouth looked doomed a few weeks ago. But ultimately, I think the recent form for Bournemouth means that the bookies aren't giving anything away here. And I think that's fair enough, really. So I'm wondering if because you said you've got some big, and I'm wondering if you've gone for Luton. I haven't. I toyed with the idea. I thought 5-1 was a tempter. But ultimately, I have to stick with Bournemouth. What I've done wrong a few times recently is just not go with the form with teams like Villa at home, in particular as well. But there's a lot of teams who have just got momentum and just follow it. It seems to be working at the moment. So it's short for Bournemouth. So I'll head to the Asian handicap market. Bournemouth -1. So it's money back if they win by 1, cash if they win by 2 or more. Bournemouth's last 4 wins have all been by at least 2 goals. And whilst Luton are keeping games tight at home, away from home, they have lost by 2 or more 4 times already this season. The tighter games are always in the home games. So the pick for me is going to be Bournemouth -1 on the Asian handicap at 9-10.
I'm quite surprised at that, Baz. I looked at the Asian handicap straight away because you've been talking up Luton sort of plus 1.5 goals a lot recently in some of those the Liverpool game, the Arsenal game, Man City, and they've cashed every single time. So it was the first place I looked, but it wasn't quite big enough. It was like sort of nearly minus 200. But the pick I have taken on Luton just about every week, which keeps hitting, so I'm not going to change it, is both teams to score. I mean, Bournemouth are in a rare run of form. 5 wins out of 7, only 1 defeat in there. But they still only won 2 out of 8 at home. And I can't take them at 1-2, Baz. At no point would you want to be back Bournemouth at 1-2 against anyone. Unbelievable win last week, by the way. Luton have lost 3 in a row. 2 of those were to Arsenal and Manchester City by 1 goal. But Luton have only failed to score once in their last 8. Bournemouth have only kept 2 clean sheets in 8 home games. So it was just both. It was dead easy. Everything was pointing towards both teams to score. I'll keep taking it. We'll keep winning. That's at 4-5, minus 125. Next up, we carry on at 3 o'clock, where Chelsea take on Sheffield United. Chelsea are 2-9, minus 450. The draw's 11-2, plus 550. And Sheffield United are all the way out to 12-1. Chelsea down to 12th in the table now after 2 defeats in a row. And their form's an absolute shambles. It's all over the shop. They've got 2 wins in there recently, both quite weird. They had the 3-2 over Brighton. Brighton coming off a Thursday night game. And then they had that stupid 4-1 win at Tottenham. And they can't defend. They've only gained, same as Bournemouth, they've won 2 out of 8 home games. And I want nothing to do with them at all at 2-9. Absolutely ridiculous. Sheffield United rode their new manager bounce last week to a 1-0 win over Brentford. We backed them. We got a nice price. They haven't lost 2 of the last 3 games, 5-0. I'll give you that. But I think we're going to see a new Sheffield United team here. We're primed for a shock, Baz. So this is my first one. Give me Sheffield United at 12-1 here.
12-1. Is that what I played Sheffield United? Barry. How have I missed that? I don't know how. I don't, because I like Sheffield United to make a game of this as well. And I don't know why I haven't picked them as an outright pick at 12-1, but I definitely co-sign that. I mean, what's changed really is Chris Wilder's come in. A few weeks ago when they were getting beat 5-0 by everyone, I might have found this a bit easier to just get stuck into Chelsea. But they've acquitted themselves well over the 2 games under Wilder. They stayed in it versus Liverpool. Liverpool were 1-0 up for a long, long time until the 90th minute they got away. And then they went and won versus Brentford. Meanwhile, Chelsea have lost 3 of the last 4 and conceded 10 goals in the process. So my question straight away is, are Sheffield United good enough to keep this one tight? And absolutely they can, because Chelsea aren't very good. They're not in good form. They're very wasteful in front of goal. But I went straight to the handicap market. Mal, I've got Sheffield United plus 1.5. So they can even lose this with a 1-goal defeat. And I'd still cash the winner. I mean, Sheffield United do have 2 wins in their last 6. They beat Brentford, they beat Wolves. They had a decent draw against Brighton, which would have cashed this bet. And the Brighton game is possibly a good comparison for this. Spurs, Man City, Man United have all beat Sheffield United, but only by a single goal. So good teams are going there. And you know, don't get me wrong, there are some hammerings there. They've been quite frequent. A couple of 5-0s and 8-0. But they've got plenty of form there for keeping it tight in a lot of games. And I think under Wilder, we'll see a bit more of that. So the new manager bounced to keep rolling, but I haven't been anywhere near as bold as you. I've took Sheffield United plus 1.5 on the handicap market at 11-10, but I will also be having a little sprinkle on Sheffield United at 12-1, Malcolm.
Nice, okay. Plus 1.5, 11-10. Writing all of that down, guys. Next up, we carry on at 3 o'clock. Manchester City against Crystal Palace. We've got an even bigger dog here. Man City are 4-25, minus 625. The draw is 7-1. Crystal Palace are all the way out at 14-1. Barry, how do you handicap a minus 625 shot?
I have handicapped this very, very well, Malcolm. I've got a bet that I'm very happy with. Very happy indeed. If I told you I've got something that has happened 6 of the last 7 games when Man City have been at home, and you were giving me 11-10 for it, you'd be happy with that, wouldn't you? Something 6
well,
or 7
the same thing by the sounds of it. So yeah,
11-10. So I've kept this one really simple. I know I want to be on the Man City side of things here. not because they're in any great form, but because Palace are struggling. And there was just one market that jumped out straight away. Man City don't get beat at home. They score lots of goals at the Etihad, and lots of those goals are coming in the first half. The problem during this streak was they weren't getting away from teams, but they were scoring goals early in games, but leaving teams in it and letting teams get back into it. First half goals versus Spurs, 3 goals, versus Leipzig, 2. Liverpool just the 1. But then Young Boys 2, Bournemouth 3, Brighton 2, Forest 2. So 6 of the last 7 home games for Man City have seen 2 or more goals in the first half. And you give me plus money, 11 to 10, for something that's happened that often in recent games. I kept it really simple. I'm going to take the over 1.5 first half goals between Man City and Palace at 11 to 10.
I thought you'd take the same pick as me, the way you started, but you haven't. Serial's shouting out the Manchester City clean sheet. So that 2-1 win at Luton was Manchester City's first win in 5. And as usual, a minus 600 shot is pretty tricky to handicap. Palace in poor form, but they played well against Liverpool. They knuckled down quite hard. They were actually completely and utterly sawn off by a red card in that game when they were 1-0 up. They've only failed to score once in the last 5. Manchester City have got no clean sheet in 6. And both teams to score is plus money. It's odds against. So that's going to be my pick. Dead simple. Both teams to score, 21 to 20, plus 105. Saturday, 3 o'clock again. Newcastle United take on Fulham. Newcastle are 4 to 5, minus 125. The draw is 14 to 5, plus 280. Fulham are 3 to 1. So Newcastle out of the Champions League and indeed out of European competition altogether. But again, I think the first thing to point out about Newcastle is that the home form and the away form are completely different. You're handicapping 2 different teams at the moment, and Newcastle really need to address their away form. But the first half, they dominated Milan last night. That's the only word for it. They dominated them. And then as they got a bit tired, and Milan came out a little bit in the second half. And in the previous home games, Newcastle had beaten Arsenal, Manchester United, and Chelsea. That's a different level of opposition to Fulham. Kieran Trippier suspended for this one. But Newcastle are getting a little bit healthier. We saw Dan Burn, Sean Longstaff come on last night. Callum Wilson was kicking around. Fulham, though, a bit of a flag in the ointment. If there was any team you probably wouldn't want to choose to play, or handicap maybe, at least, it's Fulham, because they've had back-to-back 5-0 wins. I've no idea where they've come from at all. And in the 2 games before that, they scored 3 times in each of those. That's 16 goals in 4 games. However, a month ago, what price would Newcastle have been here, Baz? Newcastle beat Fulham. Even that 3 weeks ago, Newcastle would have been 1 to 2 minus 200. Like I say, they've just knocked over Arsenal, Man United, and Chelsea, and you're giving me 4 to 5 that they can knock over Fulham. You have to take Newcastle, Baz. Newcastle 4 to 5 minus 125.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Obviously, the concerns with Newcastle is 3 defeats in a row, and how will that affect them? I don't think, certainly the mood around the club, I don't think will be that bad around it. The fans mostly have taken those defeats well, took it on the chin, and feel like we will bounce back. As you say, we're getting a bit healthier now. And 2 of those defeats were away from home, as you say. And I think last night, far better performance than the Everton game and the Spurs game. Definitely more positivity around it than the previous 2. And as you say, the problem comes with Fulham in the last 2 weeks having gone absolutely wild. And counter that with the fact Newcastle have conceded 9 goals in 3 games now. This Eddie Howe team's been built on a solid defence, and it's dropped away lately. And Dubravka hasn't filled me with much confidence at all, Malcolm, I'll be honest. I thought we'd be all right with Dubravka. But I can barely think of a save he's made in the last 3 games. It's just, I don't know, just average. Like, I think Pope being missing is going to be more of a problem than I thought it was. That's not saying it would have made as much difference to say we'd have won those games. But anyway, Trippier's out, as you say, not a massive concern. Livramento will slot back into his natural position on the right side. Livramento's look good, and I think will fill in. One concern, Gordon could be injured. I wouldn't be surprised if Gordon gets a rest this week, whether he's got the injury or not. He's been running the ground in recent weeks, and I think we could see possibly Isak on the left and Wilson up front. As you say, things are brightening up a bit, but Fulham, the Fulham thing has got me wondering, can the
so that's shite, man. Don't overthink it. Fulham are
I know, but I'm not taking Newcastle at 4-5. And like you say, if this was 2 weeks ago, it would have been so easy to just ride Newcastle. The home form in the league's good enough. Still only lost to Liverpool in the league. So 4-5, as you say, is a great price. I don't mind it at all. But I think Fulham can get on the score sheet because Newcastle have been leaking goals. And if Fulham get on the score sheet and Newcastle win, then my bet will hit. Because I've got both teams to score and over 2.5 at even money. I like goals. I think both teams to score is a good starting point, 4-6. But then tag on the over 2.5. I do think Newcastle will win it. I'm not taking them at 4-5. Just there's too many doubts in my mind. Fulham's recent 4 games, Newcastle's last 3. So yeah, pick for me, Newcastle, Fulham, both to score and overs is evens plus 100.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have the tea time game on Saturday. It is the Sean Dyche Derby, 5:30 kickoff, 12:30 Eastern Time. Burnley take on Everton. Burnley are 13-5 plus 260. The draw was 12-5 plus 240. Everton 11-10 plus 110. Barry, this was a tricky one.
I've got it easy. I'm okay with this one, Margaret.
Okay. You.
well, Burnley have picked up 4 points in the last 3 games. Got a win, a draw, and a loss. It's not enough for me to want to start back in Burnley. I still haven't seen anything that makes me have any confidence in Burnley going into any game at this time, even at home against a fellow relegation candidate. Let's remember Everton without the points deduction wouldn't really be in the relegation mix at all at the moment. The current form has got them, would have had them well away from it. Momentum, again, it's the key. I'm going back to just sticking with the form lines, like 3 wins in a row for Everton, but more importantly, 3 clean sheets in a row. And we know Burnley struggle for goals anyway. So now that Everton have found a bit of defensive solidity, I think that bodes well coming to Burnley, where there's not a lot of goals get scored anyway. Burnley, I think, are the second lowest scoring team in the league. And as I say, there's a lot to be said in recent weeks for just following the form. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to keep it really simple. I think Everton are a great price at 11-10. So I will take Everton to beat Burnley at 11-10.
You've knocked a bit of a hole in my handicap here, Baz, because I've taken goals. My pick's going to be the over 2.5 goals here, but you've just said Burnley don't score many. There's not many being involved. They did win the last home game 5-0 against that Sheffield United team before they sacked the manager. They got a decent 1-1 at Brighton last week. So 4 points out of the last 3 games, but no real patterns, and I don't want to back them, you're right. Everton have been really good. They've won 4 out of 7 away from home. They're playing to a system that suits. McNeil's playing his skin out of his skin at the moment. But the 2 prices here, Baz, there's the price you took. Everton outright, yeah?
Yeah.
At 11-10. And the over 2.5 goals, Baz, which is plus 105, 21-20. So the 2, I just preferred the goals option. I've got more, it gives us more options, gives us a Burnley 2-1. Like I say, it could easily be an Everton 3-0. But I just thought for that 5 points, for the difference between 11-10 and 21-20, I'd take the safety net of Burnley maybe turning up with a 2-1 or something like that. So the over 2.5 goals, which I thought was with the form, and you say is against the form. But I think the overs, and if you see a game like this where you see the overs at plus money, I kind of always lean towards taking that one too. So yeah, I'll take the overs. Right, let's have a look. Do I need to read some advertising out, Baz? Yes, I do. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea in the Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, expected probabilities. You can sort players by hit rate, learn which players are hot, which picks have value, all the good stuff. So stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. Okay, where are we going now? Sunday. Yeah, so we'll load of Sunday stuff again because there is Europa League tonight. Brighton, Liverpool. I'm guessing Villa have got a game as well. So 2 o'clock on Sunday. This is a good-looking game. Arsenal take on Brighton. Arsenal are 11-25, minus 227. The draw's at 4-1, and Brighton are at 5-1. This is me, innit? So, yeah, Arsenal have struggled. So they're sort of scraping wins together. Well, I suppose it depends on your point of view. Is the fact that they're winning without playing well a positive, or is it the fact that they're not playing well a bit of a negative? They've been scraping wins against sort of the average sides, but the last twice they've come against decent opposition, Villa and Newcastle, they actually lost them both. And then you can throw in a 2-2 draw with Chelsea in that. They have won 6 of their 8 home games. Brighton's form is still absolutely all over the shop. They've got 4 1-1 draws in their last 7. They're still on the 100% BTTS train. I'm not put off here by Brighton at 5-1. I think they're very, very live. That's not going to be my pick, though. This does seem like a gift, Barry. You just picked it in the Newcastle game. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals. 21-20 plus 105. I can't see a world where that doesn't happen, Pat.
It's very rare. It doesn't happen in a Brighton game, as you say.
Yeah, plus money. What man?
I've gone different, but you'll definitely get your over 2.5 if I land, because I'm in favour of Arsenal here. Arsenal were able to rest a lot of players in the Champions League this week, so they'll come into this fresh. Whereas Brighton have got a tough game tonight against Marseille, with top spot in the group still up for grabs. So I think that factored into it for me. I mean, I'm not sort of hot on Brighton at the moment anyway. But the Thursday night game and Arsenal having come in off a European week where they could rest all the main players, I think will really play into Arsenal's hands. So I favour Arsenal. They're still unbeaten at home this season. They've won the last 6 in a row. And they're doing fine in front of goal. I think it's 11 home games in all competitions this season. They've scored 3 or more on 5 occasions. So almost every other game they're scoring 3 or more at home. And we know Brighton can't keep a clean sheet. So the first Arsenal goal's a gimme. It's then, can they go and get more from there? And I think they can. I like Arsenal, and I like Arsenal to score 3 or more. I think Arsenal will win this, and I think I can see a comfortable Arsenal win this weekend. We saw Brighton concede 3 goals away to Chelsea just 2 weeks ago, and that was coming off a tough UEFA game on a Thursday night. Same story, same script, same result. Arsenal score 3 or more against Brighton at 6-4.
No, thank you. 2 o'clock on Sunday continues with Brentford against Aston Villa. Brentford 11-5 plus 220. The draw 11-4 plus 275. Villa 11-10 plus 110. Bass.
Again, Malcolm, keep it simple. Follow the form. I know Villa's away form doesn't follow the home form, but it's another team with momentum now. No defeat in 7, just 1 loss in 14 games in all competitions now for Villa. And if there's one thing Brentford doesn't have, it's momentum. They've got 4 wins and 4 losses in the last 8. It's all or nothing. There's no in between. But the 4 defeats in the last 8 games have actually come in the last 5. So they're in bad form. They're on a bit of a slide. 4 defeats in 5. And Mbeumo, I think, is still out injured. I'll take the form side, who've got the momentum behind them, against the out of form side at plus money. Villa to beat Brentford at 11-10 for me, Malcolm.
Not having it, Baz. I mean, Brentford are the most mid-table team there's going to be. They're sitting at 11th. 1-3, drawn 3, lost to at home. They're just incredibly bland. But Villa's away form, it's not great. They carried quite a lot of luck last week when they beat Arsenal 1-0, which is fair enough. Got no problem with that. You need to carry a little bit of luck. But in the last 3 away games, they drew 2-2 at Bournemouth. They got that 2-1 win at Spurs, which I thought they could have been well beaten by half-time in that game. And they lost 2-0 at Nottingham Forest, so their away forms are up to much. I don't want them at 11-10. And also, I know the Americans love this, it's a huge letdown spot for them after that Arsenal win, isn't it, last week? Sean and Ryan would definitely have this down as Aston Villa letdown spot. Brentford are always competitive at home, Barry. They were unlucky to lose 1-0 at home to Arsenal on a Saturday night a few weeks ago. So I'm going to take the draw here, Baz. The draw is 11-4, plus 275. And also at 7-1, Barry, it's the 1-1 draw of the week.
Malcolm's 1-1 draw of the week. Both teams scored a goal.
So there you go. Out at 7-1 for the 1-1 draw of the week, Barry, for me. This was the portion of the card where my picks started to go a bit daft. Next up is the third 2:00 game on Sunday. West Ham United take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. West Ham are 15-13 plus 1.5, and 5-2 plus 250. Wolves are 23-10 plus 230. So West Ham got humped last week, 5-0 defeat at Fulham, and that was coming, I think. West Ham fans that keep popping up on our timeline, they're saying they're not playing very well. I went to the races yesterday, Baz. I went to Hexham races, and the lad from the Racing Post who sorted me out a ticket, I spoke to him. He's from Cramlington, broad Geordie accent, West Ham fan. So I never got to the bottom of that. But he was exactly the same. They're just a bit. Bear in mind, I don't know where else West Ham can go. They're sitting ninth. Like, apart from overtaking Brighton, I think that's their ceiling. Like, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But the West Ham fans aren't really having it. And like I say, that defeat did seem to be coming last week. Their form's really, really streaky, Baz. West Ham win in clutches and lose in clutches. Back home, they've only won 3 of 7. Proper mid. Wolves, a bit like Brentford. These are your 2 mid-table teams. You win 1, draw 1, lose 1 on a cycle. They've lost 5 of 8 away from home, Wolves, although they didn't carry much luck. Both teams have scored in 11 of Wolves' last 12 games, Baz. Now, that is a price of 3-4, minus 133. I'm not going to put it out as my play, but you mentioned a possible parlay piece earlier on. I think that's the lot of the week, by the way. So if you want to stick that in your acca, both teams to score in West Ham Wolves, it's absolutely outstanding price. However, Baz, I'm going to go with the draw again. It absolutely screams draw. They're 2 very, very evenly matched teams. So the draw is at 5-2. And remarkably, Baz, for the first time ever, it's a double bubble 1-1 of the week. We've got 2. It's unbelievable.
1-1 draw of the week. Both teams scored a goal.
Back to back 1-1 of the week. One of those 2 games finishes 1-1, Baz. 7-1 in Brentford Villa, 6-1 in West Ham Wolves. So yeah, that's your pick there.
So what's the double, Malcolm? That's the question. The double 1-1 has to be a play now. It has to be.
Yeah, I'll price it up. Don't worry.
Yeah, got to price that up. Yeah, I mean, you pulled a lot of the same stats as me. You mentioned Wolves form regular win 1, lose 1, draw 1. Ironically, both of these teams at the moment are on a 3-game streak of win, lose, draw. So they're both all over the place in terms of results. So my immediate thought was just stay away from the outright market. Anything could happen there. But similar to you look for trends and you click on sort of goals. Basically, West Ham games have gone over 2.5 in 5 of the last 6. And whilst the last 2 Wolves games have gone under 2.5, before that they were on a 6-game streak to the overs. And as you mentioned, the both teams to score. You said Wolves 11 of the last 12. I've got down as 12 of 13. Same stat pretty much. But both teams to score for both teams. It's hit in 13 of 16 games across the full season. So it's hitting regularly for both of them. So I agree with you. Both teams to score is a great starting point for any parlays here. But I've took the over 2.5 goals plus money for over 2.5 goals. Doesn't help you with your 1-1 of the week. But I think it's a good price at 11-10. So West Ham v Wolves over 2.5 for me at 11-10.
Okay. Final game on the card here is always one of the biggest and most eagerly anticipated fixtures of the season. Liverpool against Manchester United, 4:30 on Sunday, 11:30 Eastern Time. Liverpool are 3-10, minus 333. The draw is 5-1. Manchester United are 8-1, Barry.
Yeah, there's been some line movement here. Tasty game this, but last night I was looking at these games. Man United were 9-1. You've looked, and you've got them priced up at 8-1. When I looked about an hour ago, they were actually 15-2, so they've shortened up again.
Yeah,
so
you're right. Yeah, they have.
Why Man United have come in from 9-1 to 15-2, I don't know. But the movement is all in Man United's favour for some reason. So yeah, I wish I'd got on Man United last night at 9-1, Malcolm. Man United could be about Maguire and Shaw, both picked up injuries the other day. Maybe there's been some good news on the injury front that might have affected the prices. I don't know. I mean, that obviously weakens an already leaky defence. Bruno's suspended. Rashford's apparently ill. How convenient. Rashford's been ill ever since he stunk the place out at St James's Park. He's not been feeling very well. I mean, honestly, Rashford missing doesn't make a difference. Bruno probably does make a difference, but it depends which version of Bruno.
He's their best player. I think it makes a big difference.
I mean, Liverpool have won 11 of 11 at Anfield this season. And the 4-3 versus Fulham was the first game this season where they've not won by 2 or more at home. Recent goals totals for Liverpool at home, 4, 4, 3, 3, 5. Now, a couple of those were against Europa opponents. But they are in good goal-scoring form, particularly at home, which bodes well for them here. And the last 2 at Anfield have been won by Liverpool, 7-0 and 4-0. Though Man United did beat them at Old Trafford 2-1 last year. As I say, when I opened this last night, 9-1 Man United immediately stood out for me. As much as it'll slate Man United every week.
Do it. Pull the trigger, Baz.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility. If this game is played 10 times, Man United will win 1 or 2 of them. I've no doubt about that. And let's not forget, Liverpool scraped past Fulham last week, scraped past Palace. Even Sheffield United, you know, they didn't get away from them at all. So whilst I think Liverpool should win this, and they'd love to go and put the final nail in Ten Hag's coffin, at these odds, it's really, really hard to find a way into Liverpool. Because if you want the handicap, you need them to win by 3 or more. If you want the goals, Liverpool to score 3 or more is still odds on. I couldn't find anything on the Liverpool side of this game that offered any kind of value to me. And that means the value has to be on the other side of it. This Liverpool side are capable of conceding goals. Palace got on the score sheet last week. Fulham scored 3 at Anfield just 2 weeks ago. I think this game will have goals at both ends. But I think Man U to score 2 or more goals against Liverpool at 5-2 plus 250 is a good price. I think it's good value. But I'll also be having a little sprinkle on Man United at 8-1 as they are now. I liked the 9-1 last night. I should have took it. It's just too big for me, particularly what we've seen from Liverpool in the last 3 weeks, where they have made hard work of it against lesser teams than Man United. I know Man United are average at the minute, but they are better than Sheffield United. They're better than Palace. They're better than Fulham, arguably. But Liverpool have made it hard work against those games. 9-1 as it was last night, 8-1 now is too big for Man United. So I think as much as we're always down on Man United and we love to get stuck into them, when the price goes too far, you've just got to go with the value. So the two picks for me in this one, Malcolm, Man United to score 2 or more against Liverpool at 5-2, and also Man United to win at 8-1 offers a little bit of value for me. I'll be taking that as well.
I mean, you pretty much echoed all of my notes, Baz, even some of the descriptive words that you used in there. The fact that they scraped past Palace, Sheffield United, Fulham was the exact word I've got written down. And Liverpool still not really playing very well. I'm getting that vibe, like I just said about West Ham supporters. The Liverpool supporters are feeling the same about Liverpool. I mean, Man United hit an all-time low last week in that defeat to Bournemouth. There was no improvement against Bayern. But the deciding factor in all of this, Barry, is the price. You've just hit the nail on the head. Manchester United out of 8-1 is absolutely ridiculous. So, Frank, Courtney, listen to this. Write it down. Mark the date. Put it on your calendar. We'll have an annual party with a cake. My pick is Manchester United, Barry, at 8-1 to take down Liverpool at the weekend. So, yeah, get some fancy prices. Double that up with Sheffield United, Baz. We'll never have to work again. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's got us to the end of 10 games. And we've got some fancy stuff to go. Baz, you want to lead us off with your exotics?
Yes. I started off by thinking the Bournemouth game. I like the Bournemouth game for goals. So I just wrote down Solanke and then didn't even look at the prices. But but he's a bit short. 11-8 Solanke for an anytime goal scorer. I like that. That was my pick for a scorer. However, as we've talked through the games tonight, I've talked myself into an Everton scorer. Dwight McNeil, 9-2 for an 9-2 for an anytime goal for McNeil. He's scored in 2 of the last 3 games, and he's 11-1 first scorer. So I like Dwight McNeil at 9-2 anytime, 11-1 first scorer. I wouldn't put you off Doucouré as well in that game. He's almost 3-1, Doucouré. And again, he has also scored in 2 of the last 3 for them. Everton are scoring again. And surprisingly, it's not Calvert-Lewin that's getting them. He's not scored in about 6 or 7 games now. So yeah, give me McNeil at a good price, 9-2. My underdog's got to be Man United to beat Liverpool. So yeah, my underdog of the week, Man United to beat Liverpool at 8-1. Massive value, might not come off, but you've got to have a go at that price. And the treble for me is a team totals treble. I am going for Spurs, Everton, and Villa team totals over 1.5 goals for each of them at 11-2. Spurs, Everton, Villa to score 2 or more at 11-2.
Okay, love all of that, Baz. My anytime goal scorer, I'm going to go back to my huge dog. I'm going to go back to Sheffield United. This Chelsea defence is dodgy. I thought Cameron Archer played really well last week for Sheffield United. He's got goals in him. He is 14-1 to score first, Baz, with 5-1 anytime. And I like that a lot. So I'll throw out Cameron Archer. There's definitely a goal or 2 in this for Sheffield United. And if they score, he's the man to get them. And my parlay, it's the 2 draws, Baz. First off, it's Brentford Villa and West Ham Wolves, both to draw. That pays 12-1. But if you're going for the 1-1 double draw of the week, 55-1, Barry, for the double 1-1 of the week. And for my dog, Manchester United, double dog, Baz, 8-1. I will take Man United as well. And Baz, we are done. Anything else you want to tell the people?
No, I think that's it for me. Yeah, fairly uneventful around here. I had a night at the pantomime the other night. That was all right.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I did.
Come on, Baz. That's a quality gag, that. 53 minutes in. What a top joke that was. Well done, mate. Thank you.
I think we talked about this last year. We said the Americans probably don't know what the pantomime is, but it's a bit of a Christmas tradition.
Do you think I did the same joke last year?
Probably. I think if we go back and check the stream, I reckon you probably did.
Okay, I'll see how many more years I can get it in then.
Yeah, Shane Ritchie in pantomime was the
Shane Ritchie,
of the show. He was actually quite funny. I enjoyed it. A lot of innuendo. It was Dick Whittington, so lots of dick jokes.
A lot of dick jokes. Excellent. You do love taking your daughters to penis-themed comedy, don't you, Baz?
Oh, yes, yeah. I mean, it was a bit tamer than Book of Mormon. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Funny. Well, I've got no book work. Where I'm at, so I'm in the dark side tonight, Barry. I'm going to Sunderland, and then I've got the Army Reserve tomorrow. I was at the Royal Air Force last week, so I'm well in. I think a future in the military might just be for me, Baz, if it's not too late. So I'll see how I get on with the Army people on Friday night. But yeah, plenty of work.
The only other thing, Malcolm's, we had a lot of new subscribers on YouTube in the last week. So welcome if you have joined and you've made it this far through. You've done well.
Hello.
I think we picked up about 150 new subscribers. A lot of them coming to us from TikTok. I'm putting in the hard hours on TikTok, getting
you are, mate.
I was on the live last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, still up chatting football to people. There's a lot of people loving the TikTok lives at the minute, but it's sending people over our way, which is what it's all about. So if you have joined us, thank you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Stick around. And if you're not following me on TikTok and you fancy it, I've started doing just random football chat on a night time when I've got an hour spare. And particularly on a Saturday morning, we'll put all the EFL stuff out that I fancy and recap a lot of this stuff again. So normally 11:30 on a Saturday morning is where we're going live on TikTok. And the links are all in the profile in the link tree. So I get involved.
Lovely, Baz. Thank you very much. Yes, we do appreciate your hard work on the socials because I contribute precisely nothing when it comes to all of that. So there you go. Happy days. Right. Thank you, everyone. Serial, Captain Sano, Pat. I think he's out walking the dog now. The dog's agitated. Pat out of bed. Who else was here? Riley was here early doors as well. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. Sunday night will be normal, I reckon. The NFL watch along, and we'll pick whatever's going on. Carabao Cup quarter final week next week. maybe some other stuff as well. So we'll have a look at all of that. Good luck with your bets, everyone. Thank you. Like Baz says, be a friend to tell a friend, like, rate, subscribe, all of that shenanigans. We will see you down the road. Cheers.